Greetings, fellow OpenInsight software developers. My name is Robert Lee, and welcome to the fourth and final video in this series in which I talk about using OpenInsight and a new tool called O4WX, O4W Extended, to publish software on the internet. In the previous video, I said I'd pose some questions and attempt to answer these. It would be something of an exaggeration to call these frequently asked questions, because O4WX is so new. However, I might have been asked some of these questions. Question 1. What do you think of HTML? Is it a dog? No, it's not a dog. I love HTML. HTML is brilliant. I think whoever designed it originally was a genius. It has been developed over the years collaboratively, and that has produced, I think, a very fine result. It did take me much longer to learn and understand than I thought it would. I think you could get a degree in HTML and building websites. It is mind-bendingly different from a programming language. It helps to understand what HTML is trying to do, which is to use as little screen space as possible. And that is exactly what you want when you're designing an application for a smartphone or a tablet or some small screen. I would describe HTML as the native language of the browser in the same way that machine code is the native language of the computer. It's a bit easier to read than machine code with pseudo-English like tags. I think the issue is that HTML is a very low-level language. That's what makes it tedious. Ideally, I don't think an application developer should have to concern themselves with HTML in the same way that we don't have to concern ourselves with machine code. And that is why I created O4WX. Question 2. Would you tweak an existing OI application, or would you leave the Windows application as is and tweak a copy of the OI app for the web? It depends on what you're trying to do. As I see it, there are two options. We could either tweak existing OI forms, or as you say, save an existing form with, say, a underscore web suffix or prefix, and tweak that version of a form. Personally, I like the idea of only having to maintain 1,000 forms instead of 2,000 forms. The idea of adding a new control to a form, and that is reflected both in Windows and on the internet, is to me appealing. But on the other hand, there's some risk of fixing that which isn't broke by tinkering with an otherwise perfectly good Windows application. So it really depends on what you're trying to achieve with your app and how important the Windows part of the app still is. But once you start using O4WX, you'll get a sense of it and what you'll want to do in your particular case. Question 3. I have already built a web application using O4W. Can it be used together with O4WX? The short answer is yes. Good on you for handcrafting some O4W forms. Well done. The trick is to create a blank OpenInsight form that has no controls on it, no title, and you set up a create event that calls the commuter module. So you put your O4W code into the create event of your commuter module as you would with a normal O4W commuter module, and away it goes. Question 4. How did O4WX know to go to that particular login screen in the demo? O4WX has a config record, much the same as O4W. It's just a setting in there. There is more than one way to render a form in HTML. What if I don't like the way that you have rendered a form or control in O4WX? Good question. Well, in the grand tradition of OpenInsight, O4WX has been designed to be open. The rendering system is made up of discrete components that are able to be substituted. The source code for the rendering system could potentially be made available for those who wanted to tweak. Question 6. Our application has a modifying filing system that needs to be initialized before any database access occurs. Can O4WX handle that, and if so, how? The short answer is yes. O4WX can call an initialization program at the start of every request. An initialization program has a right of veto over allowing an internet request to continue, so that program can handle any security issues that may arise. O4WX can also call a housekeeping program at the end of a request to release common variables and do whatever else may be required. These are just settings in the config record. Someone noticed that there was a lag in the display of the form in one of my earlier videos. The question was, is that the additional overhead of getting the form info and building the form? No, it is not. I also noticed the delay of which you speak, and I almost commented on it at the time. If you review the video and look at the bottom left hand corner of the browser, you'll see that it was waiting for apps.google.com, and that is where the jQuery plugins are stored. Believe it or not, we've only just got fiber optic cable in our street and we aren't yet connected to it, so my connection is pretty slow, though not usually that slow. I'm reliably told that plugins can be retrieved locally, which would speed up the delivery of the form. That's apparently an O4W setting that I haven't found yet. Question 8. How complete is O4WX? For example, does it do tabbed forms? No, at the time of recording this video on the 2nd of April 2015, it doesn't do tabbed windows. By the time you're viewing this video, it might. It also doesn't do images at the time of recording. But as the first senior programmer I worked under in 1982 used to say, that's just a smop. Simple matter of programming, he used to say in his American drawl. There's no technical obstacle to tabbed windows. O4W handles them very well, and likewise images. So no, not every aspect of OpenInsight has been fully emulated on the web at this point. The most commonly used aspects have been, and I think that which exists is more than useful, but there is more to be done. Well, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch these videos. I hope you found them interesting. That concludes this introductory series of videos on O4WX, or O4W Extended. It is possible I could do some tutorial videos later, but that would seem a little premature at this stage. Please feel free to leave comments below on YouTube or ask questions below, and I shall endeavour to respond to them. Thanks especially for David Sigafus, aka DSig, who has left the first comment on the YouTube channel and has taken a personal interest in O4W Extended. David, of course, has given us his excellent blog of his adventures with O4W. So that's all from me, Robert Lee, from Down Under, New Zealand, home of the Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, the Weta Workshop, and an awful lot of Academy Awards. If you're not sure where New Zealand is, aim for Silicon Valley, turn left, follow your nose for about 6,500 miles. If you reach Antarctica, you've gone too far. If you would like to contact me, there is an email link on the YouTube page. I'd love to hear from you. Most especially, I'd love to hear from you if you would like a game of golf. That's all from me, and bye for now.